Hello everyone, welcome to my videos. Myself Ashwin Nayak. From today, going to start now in the ninth standard social science subject. In the history part, the second chapter, the medieval India and political transition. In this previous class, we have to study now in this Gulami dynasties. So in this, the major role of this Gulami dynasty, the Qutbuddin Aibak, Iltamash, Razia Sultan, and Balban were very important in the Gulamis dynasty. So these are all information. So what was the contribution art and architecture field? So these are all we have to study in this previous class. But still today, let us start the another one dynasties, Khilji dynasty. Jalaluddin established the Khilji dynasty. He was a man of mercy and the soft spoken. As a result, his Sardars became the strong and plotted to kill him. So later the Alauddin killed him and became the Sultan of this Delhi. So Jalaluddin established the Khilji dynasty, and then let us have the information about the Alauddin and Jalaluddin Khilji. So Jalaluddin, he was established that Khilji dynasty. He was a man of mercy and that soft spoken. As a result, his Sardars to become the strong and plotted to kill them. And then later, the Alauddin killed him, became the Sultan of this Delhi. Okay, let's start that information of this Alauddin Khilji. So he was a good warrior and served as the governor and also the military general. As a military general, he invaded the Malwa, Bilwa, and then Devagiri and plundered a lot of this wealth. He killed his guides and mentors Jalaluddin. Thus, they treated the path of murder and plundered. The Alauddin became the Sultan of this Delhi. So, Alauddin thwarted the attack of Mongolians. He defeated the Rajput king Karnadeva II and then Wagwela dynasties. Hamira Deva and Ratnamado and Bhim Singh was the Chittor. Apart from this, he conquered the Malwas, Jalors, and Bundi, and Mandor, and Town. The honor of this success, the implication, the honor of the successful completions of the southern Indian invasions of this goes to his general Malik Kafur. During this time, he invaded Devagiri, Warangal, Dwarasamudra, and Madurai, and became the responsible for this destruction. He did not integrate it to conquer the state into his state, but simply plundered them. After him, the third son, Qutbuddin Mubarak, ruled for the 4 years and was murdered by him, the soldier Khusro. The later that Ghazni Malik, the murdered Khusro and established that Tughlaq dynasty. Let's start that. So, what was the administrative reforms in this Khilji dynasty? Okay, the first of all, the Alauddin Khilji complemented the various regions in this administration and then abolished religious the endowments, enhanced the lands and then subsidy, and efforts the intelligent works as established by him. He prohibited alcohol, drugs, and these dice games. He banned association formation among his sardars, their socialization with general public, the marriage along the elite classes of these people. During this time, the farmer with the minor, the land holding that also the big landlords had to pay the tax. He appointed there the revenue officers to collect their fixed tax from this farmer. And then the military reforms. So, what was the military reforms of this Khilji dynasties in this Alauddin Khilji period? He take the recruiting training of the soldiers and the supply of arms and this horse were entrusted to the defense minister. The salary of the soldiers was dispersed on the last days of this month in the forms of this cash. The individual records of the soldiers were created based on their physical features. A system of this record named as the Hulia was the brought into the effort of this purpose. The system of records named as Hulia was brought into the effort for this purpose. And then the market reforms. The reforms is market were implemented by the Alauddin Khilji, have ensured him that the special place in this history. He created the system wherein the common people was across their fuels, cereals and cooking oils, sugar and salt and fuel at fair price. Similarly, he established the market to sell markets to sell horse and then slaves. He appointed the higher officials named Shah-e Mandi to regulate their markets. Severe punishments were according to the cheater. So these are all were to the marketing facilities of the Alauddin Khilji period in this administrative system. And then the Tughlaq dynasty. The Tughlaq dynasty started from this the 1322, the 1399, the earlier century. The Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, he was the founder of this dynasty, and the next the popular king Mohammed bin Tughlaq, and the next the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. At the later it is started to that is the Sultan. And the first Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. The Tughlaq dynasty was founded by the Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Ghiyasuddin maintained the peace and order in the Delhi by implementing liberal administrative policies. He strengthened the border to prevent the Mongolian invasion. He built the irrigation canals for the benefit of this farmer and then lowered the taxes. And then established the postal system consisting to the horsemen and runners. He built Tughlaqabad fort near in this Delhi. He conquered the Madurai and Warangal and maintained the law and order in this Gujarat and then Bengal. The others important rule of these dynasties are Muhammad bin Tughlaq and then Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And the next another one important king, that is the Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He was the scholar of this Persian and Arabic language and also the experts in mathematics, physics and medicine, the Persian poetry, astrology and other subjects. He was a man of knowledge. He had a few abnormalities in these personalities, and then he has to thinking that the head of this time the often centuries he had, but his officials neither had to integrity nor the maturity to implement on these plans. And then the Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so how did he administrative reforms? So what was in this administratively, especially in the revenue reforms and officials records that had all these details to land of this empire was implemented by them. Established that the Department of Agriculture and uncultured land were the made cultivable. The various schemes were implemented to the provide financial assistance to the farmer. And then, but the farmers of the Doab had to pay a higher land tax during this period. So, what was the higher tax during in this period of this the Muhammad bin Tughlaq period? So that name is called for Doab. So in this Doab tax, it is distributed by this various period of this various types. The Kharaj, the land tax on these non-Muslims, and the next one, the Ushra. It is to that agriculture tax on these Muslims. And then Zakat, at the third one tax, it is to be the property tax on the Muslim subjectives. And then fourth one, Jizya, it is to the religious tax. So this type of this various tax to collected from this in this Doab. It is to be very higher land tax for this in this Muhammad bin Tughlaq period in the revenue formation. And the next one administrative reforms, that is the shifting of this capital. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq the shifted his capital from Delhi to Devagiri in the central India. There was the two main reason to behind his move. And the first one, the establish the capital city at the center of this the West Empire and the protect them capital city from the foreign invasion. So this is the one reason too he has to move into this capital to Delhi to Devagiri. Through the man, through the plan was a good, the prosper, precautions were not taken for this implement on these days. As a result, the vulnerable common people were suffered se- severely. So these two main reasons he has to shift it for this capital city to Delhi to Devagiri. And the next one, the experiment of the symbolic icon. The experiment of symbolic coins. The values of currency was made adjusted to the value of gold and silver coins in circulations of this time. He brought gold coins named dinar and silver coins named adili into the circulation. The coins were aesthetically to the designed in this system of this gold and silver coins. Look at that picture. These two were the gold and silver coins. It is values of currency to made adjusted in this val of this the gold and silver coins at that the period. The after a few years that copper and brass coins were also brought into that circulation. Then maintaining coins was not the worst with this government allows. The familiar, the who had tradition that rights on these mites coins were also there. The coins were minted more than to that required to the number without the permissions of the Sultan. So this is the result of this the choice. Next, in this Muhammad bin Tughlaq, in this administrative, that is the Deccan policy. So Deccan policy, the Muhammad bin Tughlaq, the implemented is administrated in the areas to conquered by him in the Deccan. He had conquered the Warangal, the capital of these Kakatiyas. He also destroyed the Dwara Samudra, the capital city of Hoysalas. Madurai of the South Indian was conquered and Jalaluddin. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq was the first Delhi Sultan to establish the West Empire in India. Muhammad bin Tughlaq the organized a big army. There were the 27 rebellion in South India during this last 11 years of these rules. These rebellions led to the rise of Vijayanagara and Bahumani kingdom. And the next administrator later on this the Tughlaqs, especially Firoz Shah Tughlaq, who ascended to the throne after this Muhammad bin Tughlaq, to implement the numerous people the friendly programs. He waived off Takavi loans for this benefit for the subjects. He paid the compensation to the victim of Muhammad bin Tughlaq invention. And then the private mines used to the tax and also the taxes was collected for the providing irrigation facilities. It to abolish there around the 20 different taxes along with this too. They built many cities, mosques and this madras and dam and irrigation canals. Jaunpur, Fatehbad, Hizar, Firozpur and Firozabad were the few important cities built by them. So these are all were the informations about that is the Khilji dynasty and then Tughlaq dynasty.